What's up, dudes? Fruit Punch Sabi here. I'm back with some more Tsukihime. Crimson Vestages? Oh, in chapter 6. That's right, we saw Ciel in her armor. Dang, that was pretty good. Okay, give me a moment to think about this. I want to... Gallery. Was it CG? Do we have Ciel Senpai? Oh yeah. Whoa! Hold on. Vlog broke her armor. Oh, right here. It's cool too. What's another one? There's another one. Wasn't there her on the floor? Hey, did she get bit? I don't know. Alright, whatever. Alright, let's play. So we beat Vlov, so that means we're 50% done with the game. And we're at chapter 6. What's after Vlov? Oh yeah, that's right. They added a new antagonist in this game. So it's not just Roa and Arc. There's going to be another girl. Soft rays of sunlight stir me from sleep. My eyes are closed, but I can sense the serenity surrounding me through my skin. The air is cool, as if nudging me to wake. It feels like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day. I wonder if I point it this way. Nah, whatever. I'm lying in bed, my glasses neatly placed next to my pillow. I'm not surrounded by extreme cold, and I don't feel any debris pressing down on my back. I find myself in a room in the Tono mansion. By force of habit, I put on my glasses before looking around. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs with fresh air. I hear the hands of a ticking clock, offering a rhythm to the chirping of birds outside. The sunlight streaming in through the window is so pure, I can almost hear the rays speckle. I return to my normal life. My thoughts are still a mess, and my joints still ache, but at least things are back to the way they should be. After witnessing the gruesome vision of hell, that supernatural encounter, this morning feels like happiness itself. For an insignificant human like me, there are no greater reward than... A sudden greeting startles me into an upright position. I look over to find Hisue standing at attention in front of the door.
Hisue. 申し訳ありません。シキ様がなかなかお気づきになられませんので、こちらから声をおかけしたのですが。
いや、こっちこそごめん。
They caught me off guard. My heart is still pounding.
あれ、まだ7時前だけど。
はい。シキ様のお目覚めには少しばかり早い時間です。
だよね。じゃあ翡翠は何をしに来たんだ？
シキ様を起こしに参りました。秋葉様からここ2日間の事情を説明してもらいますので、テコを使ってでも連れてくるようにとことづかっております。
なんだって。
Akia, these past few days, explanation. Though I hear the words, it's as if they're lost on meaning. I spend about 10 seconds pondering them, resisting the temptation to abandon rational thought entirely. No matter how hard I try, there's no excuse I can find for the past 2 days. I skipped school, I broke curfew, I basically went AWOL on Akia. She was already pretty mad when I didn't make it home before dark. I dread to imagine the fury I'll face this time. Mazui. I'm a dead man walking. I can't think of anything to say to Akia that could possibly get me out of this.
あのさ、翡翠。控えめに言って、秋葉のやつ怒ってる。
さあどうでしょうか。
She's
それは
pissed
四季様が直にお確かめください。
Hisui sounds coldly unconcerned with my plight. If I hadn't known things would turn out like this, I've done everything to get back.
いやちょっと待った。それ以前になんで部屋で眠ってるんだ俺。
いいえ、四季様はお帰りになられた後疲れているからと自室でお休みになられたのですが。
俺が自分の足でここまで。
はい、昨夜の10時過ぎにご帰宅なされた折、出迎えた姉さんが死ぬほど疲れている、起きるまで起こさないでほしいと言っていると伝言を受けたまわったと。
I don't remember any of that, but I can't imagine Hisui is lying to me. Maybe Ciel dropped me off at the front gates, and then walked the rest of the way here. After the brutal battle, I probably wasn't totally aware of my surroundings.
いやというか
My memories remain fully intact. Arc, Vlav, Ciel, I remember them all. I'll erase your memories of this day. That's what Ciel told me, but it looks like she let me off the hook. Even so, that doesn't change the fact that Ciel and Noel must be long gone, now that Vlav has been taken care of.
四季様、
ああいやそうだった。思い出した。すぐに行くから秋葉にはできるだけ落ち着くように言っておいてくれると嬉しいかな。
申し訳ありません。善処いたしますが、成果はほぼないものとお考えください。
I see. Things are so bad that not even Hisu and Kohaku's support would work in my favor. At any rate, I should get up. I won't get anything done by staying in bed. My mind dizziness washes over me as soon as I stand up. My body hurts all over. No doubt due to the wounds I suffered last night. I got all kinds of cuts and bruises, and my muscle ache from overexertion. My skin spasms with every moment, and a low burning pain courses through my body. Of course, if there's anything I should be surprised about, it's the fact that I lived to see another morning. It's a wonder I survived, considering all the reckless stuff I did.
四季様、
ごめんちょっと立ちくらみ。着替えたら行くから翡翠は先に行っててくれ。大丈夫、すっぽかしたりしないから。
はい、それではお待ちしております。
Hisui bows deeply and leaves the room. It's Sunday, so there's no school today. I take off the uniform that I've been wearing since yesterday and change into regular clothes. I'm not excited for what's about to come, but I brought this on myself. All I can do is brace myself as best I can for my audience with Her Royal Highness Ikea. I go down to the first floor, pass through the lobby lit brightly by the morning sun, and arrive at the east wing. On the other side of the door is a terrifying demon, eagerly wanting to hear her pitiful brother's excuses. No, this is no time to be whimpering like a fool. Regardless of the circumstances, I skipped school and didn't come home. It's only natural that Akia would want an explanation. I should apologize properly. Think of some kind of excuse, tell her the truth.
そうだな。それが一番いいと思う。
I can't tell her about Arc or Vlav. It just sounds like a bunch of nonsense. And I shouldn't get Akia involved in this mess anyway. So the truth is a no-go. But at the very least I owe her an earnest apology.
よし、行くぞ。
I take a deep breath and open the door to the parlor.
おはようございます、兄さん。不思議とずいぶん久しぶりな気がしますね。
Yeah, I really like that face she makes when she's mad. She looks pissed, but cute though. I don't know why. I can't assess her fiery gaze on me. communicating loud and clear just how angry she is. Her hostility is already at full strength.
やあ、おはよう、アキハ。
挨拶は結構ですから、そこに座ってください。ええ、いろいろと長くなるはずですものね。
There is an absolute irresistible force in Akia's words that shuts me down. Yet I see a glint in her eyes that suggests she's enjoying this. They're glowing as if this is her long-awaited opportunity to lock up a criminal she's been chasing for years.
兄さん。
おう、座りますとも。
All thought of escape has been dispersed by Arcueid glower. I endure the pain surging through my body and sit down on the sofa.
座りましたよ。
言わずともわかります。妙な態度でこちらの規制をそがないでください。卑怯です。
How's that not fair?
なんで卑怯なんだ？
卑怯でしょ。そんな顔をされたら気が緩む。
She can't help what? Arcueid glares herself mid-sentence with a cough, then sharpens her glare further yet.
兄さん、早速ですが、おとといと昨日のお話を聞かせていただけませんか？
Arcueid composes herself, elegantly taking her teacup into her hand. Although she phrased it as a question, it was unmistakable a command. But as her older brother, I just can't let her know about what happened. I'd rather she hate me than have her worried about me.
それなんだけど、アキハ。
はい。何でしょう。
率直に言って、事情は説明できないんだ。
The shattering of porcelain fills the room as Arcueid's teacup falls from her hand onto the table. No, it'd be more accurate to say that she deliberately dropped it.
アキハ様。ああ、ごめんなさい、スイ。片付けてもらえる？
Okay. Without another word, Hisue begins cleaning up the spilled tea and the shards of the exorbitantly expensive-looking teacup. I look on awkwardly while Arcueid's stares continue to pierce through me. Hisue finishes cleaning and goes into the kitchen.
それで、兄さん。
何？
この2日間の出来事を詳しく話していただけますか？
She gonna pretend he didn't say that to her? Akia's not giving up. She's still trying to get me to talk. But there's no way I can tell her what happened. Not only for my sake, but for hers too. Arcueid can never know the truth.
アキハには余計な心配をさせて悪かったと思ってる。連絡を入れなかったことも謝る。だけど、話せないことは話せない。
私に悪いと思っているのに話せないんですね。兄さんは弁明もしないのですか？
いや、それは。
There's a lot of stuff I'd love to clarify, but
言い訳のしようがないので。でも、この2日間、悪いことはしていない。そう信じたい。
I can only describe these past 2 days as an endless flurry of death and carnage. But I want to believe that I made the right choice. I got to help Ark, of course, but I don't regret any of the choices I made in the past 2 days. Even if we weren't fast enough to save everyone, there'll be no more talk of blood-drained murder victims on the nightly news.
ごめんな、アキハ。迷惑をかけるけど、これ以上は聞かないでくれ。
Arcueid stares deep into my eyes. An uncomfortable silence fills the space between us.
そうですね。考えてみれば、兄さんにも事情があるのでしょうし、私がそれに深く干渉することはできませんものね。
悪い。そう言ってもらえると助かる。
わかりました。この件に関してこれ以上の追及は勘弁して差し上げます。連絡をいただけなかった点については 私にも落ち度がありますから。
落ち度なんてそんなの秋葉にないだろ。
携帯電話を取り上げたのは私です。あれがあればズボラな兄さんでも連絡ぐらいはしたのではありませんか。
You guys vote back. Looks like she doesn't know that my phone was secretly returned to me quite some time ago.
ですがそれも今回だけです。今後はこのようなことは控えてください。兄さんは遠野家の唯一の男性なんですから、もう少しご自分の立場を理解していただかないと困ります。良くない外聞が広まってしまったら遠野家の今後の人付き合いにも影響がありますし。
いやー、それこそ問題ないだろう。俺が何しようと興味も持たないって、あっちの方々は。だいたい遠野の跡取りは秋葉なんだから、家のことを思うなら俺をよそに出すなり、遠野の家にふさわしい婿養子でも見つければいいのに。
She didn't like that. I met with silence once more. I wonder what might have caused it this time.
どうした？気分でも悪いのか、秋葉。
結構です。私を気遣う余裕があるのでしたらご自分の体調を気にしてください。慢性的な貧血持ちなんですから、兄さんは。
She's right. I do collapse frequently due to my anemia.
ともかくあまりお一人で屋敷を出ないでください。そうでなくとも近頃の町は物騒なんです。兄さんみたいにぼーっとしている人は通り魔に襲ってくださいと言っているようなものなんですから。
それなら大丈夫。あんな事件二度と起きないよ。
Our town has been beset by a serial killer. Called a modern-day vampire in the news, the killer lurks in the darkness, striking terror into the hearts of men. No suspects have been found, but all of that is in the past now.
は？
吸血鬼はいないってことだよ。その犯人はもう捕まったんだ。
そうなんですか？それは良い知らせですが、兄さんよくそんなことを知っていますね。
ああ、たまたま逮捕現場に居合わせたというか。
Saying those words makes me smile wildly. It's technically the truth, one born of incredible series of coincidences. So much happened during these 2 days I spent with Ark. Thinking back on it, it still feels like a dream. But at any rate, the monster that made its nest in this town is gone. I can't deny being somewhat proud of my involvement.
兄さんどうしたんです？急に嬉しそうな顔をして。
別に何でもない。
Excuse me.
ただ終わったんだなってようやく実感できた。
The weight lifted from my chest. As I say those words, puts a smile on my face. Ultimately, it seems that Akia has accepted my excuses. I thank her as I stand up.
いや、安心したらお腹が減ってきた。朝食をもらってきてもいい？
私に許可を求める必要はありません。朝食まで管理する気はありませんから、ご自由にとってください。琥珀なら厨房で朝食の支度をしているでしょうし。
サンキュー。じゃあ遠慮なく。
Thank you. I make to head for the door then. A wave of dizziness hits me again. This is bad. My fatigue and fever seems to have gotten worse.
待ってください兄さん。先ほどから顔色が優れないようでしたが、今のではっきりしました。今朝は特に調子が悪いのではないですか？
ああ、実は少し熱っぽい。
Almost said it was nothing, but there's no point acting tough. It's probably just make Akia worry even more anyway.
そう謝る必要はありません。お体が優れないのは兄さんのせいではないでしょう。琥珀は朝食の支度をしていますから、荒木先生を呼びましょうか。翡翠、連絡をお願い。今朝は楼閣の方にいるはずよ。かしこまりました。
荒木先生って、 あの人を呼んでどうするんだよ。というか、いるのあの博士。
兄さん、くれぐれも先生を博士などと呼ばないように。調子に乗ってしばらく正気を失いますから。荒木先生は昨夜うちに泊まっていたんです。まだ帰っていないようだし、兄さんの体を見てもらいましょう。あの方、ああ見えて外科の医師でもあるんです。ここで暮らすのなら頻繁に会う人ですから、これを機に親睦を深めてください。
外科。
I'm about to say that I'm not injured, but I stopped myself. After all, I have 100 abrasion underneath these clothes. The problem is that if I get examined here, Akio will find out about them.
診察なら俺の方から行くよ。あの人、楼閣にいるんだな。
Wait, we have an annex?
ここで結構です。楼閣は遠いですから。すぐに来ますから、軽く熱と脈拍を測ってもらいなさい。解熱剤は
Kohaku?
薬なら琥珀に頼んだ方がいいか
I
し
don't
ら。
know if you want Kohaku to handle the medicine.
兄さん、何ですかそんなにそわそわして。まさかその年になって診察が苦手なんですか？
診察には慣れている。そういうことじゃなくて。
はあ。では荒木先生が苦手とか？
苦手というか、ついていけない系だろあの人は。だからそういう話でもなくて。
では何だというのです。不満があるのでしたらはっきりと口にしたらどうですか？
Voice my concern clearly. Be careful what you wish for.
ここで服脱いでいいのか？俺、診察の時は全部脱ぐけど。
全部ってつまり全裸ですか？
Oh shit. Why you look surprised, Akio? What? No, I'm not a pervert. Looks like I didn't explain myself very well.
いや、さすがに全裸にはならないだろう。普通は上だけ。
ですよね。上着だけということでしょうか。
I make a face that says, what else would there be? Akio gets up from the sofa without another word and heads towards the door. She seemed to have gotten the message.
席を外しますから、診察が終わり次第食堂にどうぞ。私は午後から外せない会食があるので外出しますが、私が留守だからといって羽目を外さないようお願いします。
Akio leaves the room. What a relief. That was a little awkward, but it looks like I'll be able to get through this without Akio finding out about my injuries. Man, I want to watch Carnival Phantasm again. Specifically the Shiki and Shiro dates episode, where they had to please the harem by going on a date with all of them. I kind of want to rewatch the Tsukihime one. This is... Oh man. I wait by myself in the parlor. After about 10 minutes, I see Attic approaching through the window facing the courtyard. She cheerfully cut across the grass. Someone seems to be in a good mood. But if she's coming from the courtyard, does that mean the annex is outside the mansion proper?
Hi! Ohio town!
The annex. You met that thing outside.
朝から体をいじってほしいとか？しきちゃんったら超インラーン！私、シチューみたいにたぎった思春期少年病の餌食になっちゃうのかしら？
Arctic enters the parlor straight from the terrace instead of going through the mansion.
すみません。別に悪いところはないし、めまいも収まったんで、帰ってもらっていいですか？
What's the annex again? Is the annex Shiki Old House or that circle thingy? I don't know what an annex is. I want to look it up. Come on, man. Oh, that's right. My keyboard doesn't work. I turned it off. All right. I got my phone. Annex. What is the annex? Annex. I don't know what an annex is. A physical additional to a building or a document. Additional building. Oh, hey, yeah, isn't that Shiki old house then? What's she talking about?
しきちゃんたら堅物ちゃう。身持ち硬いとか今時流行んない。でもそんなところが一流のサバイバーなのかしら。情弱しすべしな世の中ですし、目の前のごちそうをほいほいはらませてたら玉がいくつあっても足りないってことかしら。
What?
さすが雑食動物、本能のように否認してる。
She chatters away as she approaches the sofa where I'm seated. She walks with all the subtlety of a runaway model, swaying her chest and hips in an exaggerated fashion. Yet oddly, her footsteps make no sound, almost like a ninja. Still, I don't know her too well, so I can't really say, but she seems particularly enthusiastic today. Or maybe I'm just hoping that this isn't her norm.
それじゃあ幹部を出してね、すぐ出してね。ちょっとサバサバするわね。上着だけ脱ぐ？脈拍と心音だけ見てくれってこと？ああ、それはダメ。嘘は良くないわよ。しきちゃん、全身悪いところだらけじゃない。膝、足首、肘、腰回りもちゃんとケアしとかないとね。これほっとくと明日までには治らないわよ。
Hearing this makes me sit straight up without thinking. It seems I need to make a serious reassessment of Professor Arcueid. I still have my clothes on, so that means she'll be able to detect all of that just by touching me.
それはわかります。プロだもん。しきちゃんが生まれる前から。可愛いスニーカー。しきちゃんがこんな小さい時から人体見てるのよ。ぶっちゃけ顔色見ただけで内臓のダメージまで分かったわよ。
Damn, really?
そういうわけなんでおとなしくパンツになってね。湿布は邪魔くさいだろうからできるだけ軟膏で済ませてあげる。あとは点滴ね、栄養剤。とにかくいろいろ足りてないでしょ。
はい。いや、パンツになるって。はい。
パンツはパンツじゃん。要はパンツだけになれって話。トウシちゃんそれで退出してるんでしょ。いいじゃんパンイチ、私好きだな。なんなら全裸でもいいわよ。
お酒飲んでませんよね。
飲んでないわよ。私いつも真剣だもん。と言いたいところだけど、実はハイなの。すごくハイ。昨日の夜から脳内麻薬分泌しまくり。私生活が充実してきたっていうの。ここのところルーチンワークばっかりだったからさ、やっぱり生活には波乱が必要よね。そのあたりしきちゃんには大感謝だから、今朝は特別にきっちり見てあげましょう。
っていつの間にか脱げてる。
Professor Eric has already gotten my shirt off somehow. Just how experienced she is. There's no point in resisting. It would only delay the inevitable. I settle on not getting stripped completely naked and do my best to dodge Professor Arcueid's magical fingers. Magical. Oh god. Alright. Just wanna... That's okay. The whole thing takes about 10 minutes. She applied an ointment to the areas where the inflammation was particularly bad and wrapped tape around my joints. It's not the most elaborate treatment, but I feel much better already. There we go. If only she can keep her mouth shut, she would be a great doctor.
でも器用に怪我したものね。肩甲骨のあたりとかちょっと普通じゃない感じ。何？喧嘩の相手は一人や二人じゃなかったの？というか刃物持ち出してない相手。
いや、そんなことはないですけど。すみません、アラク博士。このことは明葉には黙っていてもらえますか？
博士って言った。よし、黙る。博士と言ってくれたしきちゃんのお願いなら何でもだいたい3割ぐらいまで聞いちゃう。
I'm glad she agrees to keep quiet, but 30% seems rather low.
でも本当に昨日は何をしていたのかしら。しきちゃん右手側だけ怪我してないし、もしかして誰かと一緒だった？その人が隣にいたから片側だけスキンガードされてたとか？
別にそんなことはありません。一人でした、ずっと。
まあいいけど、もし他に怪我しちゃった人がいたら教えてね。しきちゃんがこれだと一緒にいた人もひどい怪我してそうだし、浅い傷口でも感染症だってあるし、本人が平気だと思っても毒はゆっくり回っていくものだしね。
At this, I remember how Ciel covered me as she fought. Professor Eric was right on the money. Ciel looked great, but her injuries she sustained were many times greater than mine.
ま、しきちゃんが一人だったっていうならいっか。でもまだ体力は戻らないわよね。よし、後で点滴でもしとこっか。せっかくしきちゃん用の点滴パックを預かってるわけですし、バンバン使って在庫なくさないとトシちゃんから次のお小遣いがもらえないっていうか。そんなわけで食後は部屋でウルトラ点滴タイム決定。1時間ぐらいかかるから午前中開けておいてね。それじゃ、じゃ
Bye bye. Did she scurry? What's that sound effect? Yes, scuttles. That's what it sounds like when she exits the room. She scuttles out of the room. It's been 20 minutes since Akia left. I should get to the dining room and have breakfast. I kept Kohaku waiting long enough. I like the birds. The bird peaceful noises. Now that I had breakfast, it's time to get the IV from Professor Eric. Adik. I lied down during the process and accidentally doze off. Professor Adik left the mansion once the IV drip was finished. The clock now reads noon. I feel a lot better now, thanks to her. If nothing else, I shouldn't have any problems walking. I won't be able to go out that far, but where should I spend the afternoon? The garden? The mansion? Ciel apartment? I guess I got the mansion. I take a look around the mansion. I doubt it changed much in the last 7 years, but maybe I can discover something new now that I've grown older. Well then, after walking around the mansion for an hour, I come to a conclusion.
立ち入り禁止の区画が多すぎない。
I grumble aloud, despite being alone. The Tono mansion is as big as a hotel, but just like a hotel, there are lots of rooms most people aren't allowed to enter. The second floor of the east wing is especially outrageous. Not in a bad way though. It just feels overwhelming. While most rooms were locked, they weren't the case for the east wing's second floor. But whenever I thought to check it out, I started feeling dizzy, almost like the hallway itself was shifting beneath me.
許可なしで入ったら絶対に殺すという強い意志を感じる。
By her, I mean Akia, of course. It may be paranoia, but I avoided the second floor of the east wing entirely. I feared that if I entered, my social life would be over forever.
ああ、それが正解だ。おいそれと当主の生活空間に入るものじゃない。それが家族であろうともね。昔からここではそうだっただろう、四季君。
I jump, surprised at the voice that calls out to me from behind. Spinning around, I find him standing there.
屋敷の探索は終わったかね。私としては出戻った人間には自室でおとなしくしていてほしいのだが。
それはどうも。こっちも よく知らない人間にうちの周りを歩いてほしくないですけど。
私を知らないのは君だけなんだが、まあそこは流そう。お互い深く関わり合う立場じゃない。親しかゆしだ。今日はそうだな、私も気が緩んでいたらしい。君の後ろ姿から昔を思い出してね、声をかけてしまったんだよ。
俺を見て昔を思い出したですか。
Does he mean?
なあ、牧久さんがまだ万全だった頃だ。ここ数年は部屋にこもりがちだったが、もともとは植物を愛する人でね、こうして屋敷の周りを歩いていた。牧久さんが植物に造形が深かったことは話したかな。私も少しはかじっていてね、二人でよくそこの植物園で語り合ったものさ。
植物園なんか厳重に施錠されてますけど。
入り口はね、裏口は簡単な鍵で開けられる。
Oh shit, dude. You think what I'm thinking? This guy is trying to lead Shiki into the place where it all started 10 years ago.
持っているのは琥珀城かな。ありがたいことに今でも最低限の世話をしてくれているようだ。
That's a surprise. Saiki addressed Kohaku as Miss. Oh, go back, really? Wait, you said
入り口は
Kohaku-san?
ね、持っているのは琥珀城かな。
Kohaku
あ
Joe?
りがたいことに今でも最低限の世話をしてくれているようだ。
What? Kohaku Joe? Like Ojo-san? Whoa. Okay, interesting. Why did he call her that? That's a surprise. Saiki addressed Kohaku as Miss. It's not at all how I expected him to talk about a servant.
あなたは琥珀さんと親しいんですか。
私があの使用人と
What did it do that? Pause and then laughter? Okay. His sarcastic scoff turns into full-blown laughter. I don't need to ask to know what he found so funny. He's laughing at me.
何かおかしなことを言いましたか。俺
いや、失敬。今のは私が悪いんだ。何しろ君に落ち度はない。ただあんまりな質問だったというだけだ。私は琥珀城とはそう親しくはないよ。彼女と話すようになったのは秋葉が当主になってからだ。琥珀城は秋葉の秘書役でもある。必然会話の機会も増える。どちらかというと私は翡翠城と顔見知りだがね。
Hisue? What? I can't imagine that. Kohaku, I would understand because she's sneaking behind the scene. Or what if Kohaku pretend to be Hisue? She put the contacts on and talks to him. That could be possible. And he doesn't know. Because they're like twins. You can't tell them apart. Another surprise. This weirdo and Hisue are acquainted? What does that even mean? Oops. There we go.
昔の話だよ。それもここ数年は全く話をしていない。挨拶程度はするがね。
Oops, my bad.
さて、私も日差しを浴びすぎた。肌が痒くていけない。
Skin's growing itchy. From the sun? You think he's a vampire? As Goto Saiki raises his hand, a car that was waiting in the parking area comes around to the entrance. I guess that means our conversation is over.
ああ、本題を聞き忘れていた。どうかな？7年ぶりに屋敷を見た感想は。
特に驚きはないです。 子供の頃の記憶合わせができたのは1回だけですし。
Answered the human mummy Goto Psyche question.
なんだ面白みのない。しかしそうだな。過去から戻ってきたとしても見違えるような現実などそうはないということか。
Goto Psyche says his piece and leaves the Tono mansion behind. He visits the mansion pretty often. Maybe he has a residence in Soya.
次はその辺りに切り込んでみるか。
It's obvious that he considered me an enemy, or at least an obstacle. Well, you know what they say, no thy enemy, right? I should get some information on him as insurance.
ま、それはそれとして。
I don't want to avoid my life. Excuse me. I don't want to avoid. I don't want my day off like this. Collecting myself, I return to exploring the mansion. I think I'll try the garden next. Dan per his recommendation. The garden. I walk out into the terrace. It's the same terrace that stretches behind the parlor. When we were younger, this area was Akia's space whenever the weather was nice. But really, it wasn't so much her space as it was the edge of her territory. Akia didn't venture into the garden on her own. This terrace was as far as she could go.
そうだった。よく庭から声をかけて家庭教師の目を盗んだっけ。
I think she wanted me to come by here whenever we went out to play. She said it was unfair that we went to play in a forest by ourselves or something, which meant it was my role to take Akia into the woods and then shoulder the subsequent scolding. I moved from the terrace to the garden. In the eyes of a child, the garden looked like stretched on forever. But now that I'm older and taller, I can grasp it in its entirety. There are fewer flowers than there were 7 years ago, but the general atmosphere of the courtyard hasn't changed a bit. Yeah, that's a gazebo. Okay. Yeah, the annex is a chic old house then. Or whatever. Yeah. But they don't show up in this route, right? I can't imagine it. Because you don't really see it in the vampire route. You see it in the Tono art. Which is like Akia, Hisue, and Kohaku route. After about 10 minutes of leisurely strolling, I reached the gazebo. This is where the garden ends. All that lies beyond is a dense forest. Being mindful not to overexert my leg, I decided to end my walk here.
それにしても
This place makes me feel like I love Japan. I lean against a hardened brow and admire the vast garden in all its autumn splendor. From out here, the mansion feels closer to a castle, but I feel so out of place in this picturesque scene that I can't help but force a smile. The only people who look at home in a place like this are Akia. Damn, senpai.
あいつとシエル先輩ぐらいかな。
The astonishingly beautiful vampire, and the fellow student clad in gallant armor. I wonder what happened to the two of them afterwards. Arc was hostile to Ciel, while Ciel, given her position, would likely consider Arc an enemy. I can only hope that they went their separate ways without incident. Sorry about that. Tired.
バカだな。なんでそんな心配をしてるんだ、俺。
Whatever happened, it's all over now. Ciel's objective was to take down Vlog, so she has no reason to stay in Soya anymore. That's why it's pointless to think back on all that's happened.
そうだ。それでいいんだ。もうあんな無茶をしなくていいんだから。
I stopped myself short. Why bother telling myself a lie that I would never buy? Even now, I have all these lingering feelings. My gratitude to Ciel, My hope for what could have been is the same with Arc. Although she brought me nothing but troubles, our time together was, well, it was fun.
バカか俺は。先輩はともかく、あいつはどうでもいいじゃないか。
She almost got me killed. Why can't I get her out of my head? Why would I want to go through something like that ever again? I sigh and leave the gazebo behind. Hold on. Oh yeah, my neck. There we go. I take my time on the way back too, wandering aimlessly through the garden. Is it shaking? I continue, but my regrets refuses to set with the sun, and my thoughts continue to wander long after the light has faded from the horizon. It's nighttime. Dang, dude, this house looked cool. My afternoon wasn't all that eventful in the end. After absent-mindedly wasting some time in my room, it didn't take long for dinner time to come around.
なんだろう。体中だるいな。なんか。
I tried to shake off the fatigue raining down on me like a cold. It must be the after effects of all the excitement of the past few days. Now that things are calmed down, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm sure another night's rest will put my mind in order. Akia is seated in the dining room with Kohaku at the attention behind her, while Hisui has taken her position behind me. Kohaku has prepared a traditional Japanese dinner. The main dish is shiitake mushrooms, bigger and probably more expensive than I ever seen before. They're stuffed with meat, but overall the meal is on the healthy side. Akia is wearing a bored expression, stabbed one of her mushrooms with a fork, then brings it to her mouth without any comment on the food. She just returned to the mansion about an hour ago. Apparently, some unexpected problems arose and she had to dedicate most of her day to dealing with them.
翡翠、念のため聞いておくけど、うちの夕食って死後現金だったっけ？
I keep my voice to a soft whisper so that Akia doesn't hear.
いいえ、親族の皆様間での談話は自由に行われておりました。
じゃあ、アキハが黙っているのは単に機嫌が悪いだけ。
申し訳ありません。私には分かりかねます。あくまで憶測ですが、明葉様はお疲れなのではないでしょうか。
そっか。そりゃそうだよな。いつも不機嫌だけど、今は特にご機嫌斜めだし。ほんと、ご苦労様だこと。
What'd she say? What? Her eyebrows knitted. They drew that. Hey, good stuff, Takuichi-sama. I like that. She heard that, right? I nod in sympathy. I should probably give her some space to relax, since her Sunday was ruined by extenuating circumstances, and I know better than to try to throw out a random topic. Yeah, it's best to let sleeping Akia lie.
聞こえていましたよ、兄さん。別に午後の視察で疲れているわけではありません。食事は静粛にが当家のマナーですから。
She glares at me sharply. I'm not surprised that she's taught through my talk to Hisue, but the fact that she actually overheard what we talk about is terrifying. Just how good is her hearing?
もっとも、それも過去の話ですが。どうしても話がある。今日一日の出来事を語り合いたいというのであれば、その限りではありません。
Nodding in acknowledgement, I resume eating. Since I had a small breakfast and lunch, I woke up a reasonable appetite for dinner. My compliments to Chef Kohaku. These mushrooms are one of the most delicious things I ever tasted. I tell Kohaku as much, which she takes in stride.
ありがとうございます。ですが、この勝利は当然なのです。 今夜の食材は産地直送。恐れ多くも天皇陛下にもご献上されている一品ですもの。
The emperor himself. Okay, I was right. These are expensive shiitake mushroom indeed.
それで私の仕事ぶりをいたわってくれた兄さんは午後の休みをどのように過ごされたのです？
ああ、俺のことか。午後は散歩に出て、部屋に戻ってからはずっとベッドで横になってた。
それはまた貧血ですか？
いや、考え事をしていたら夜になっていただけだ。体の調子は悪くないよ。
つまり無意に時間を浪費したということですね。
What? She went from worry to piss. What?
そんなくだらないことを堂々と口にしないでください。私は何とも思いませんが、他の人が聞けば笑い物になるだけですから。
I have no way of rebuttal her merciless words, but I'm curious about something she said.
確かに自堕落に思われる発言だった。というか自堕落だった。反省している。けど、秋葉は何とも思わないってどうして？
Could it be that despite her strict demeanor, she's actually pretty lenient with her close relatives?
どうしても何も当然でしょ。私は党の指揮に何も期待はしていませんから。兄さんがそういう人であることは初めから承知の上です。
I see. There is certainly wisdom in that. You can't be disappointed if you're not hoping for anything. Alright, hold on, man. Let me pull up this picture. Ah, no, I'm in Type Lumina. Oh, fuck me. What was the picture I really like from Akia? Ah, yes. Oh, not the red head, though. This one. Perfect. Oh, God. Oh, where's Red Garden? I can't wait for Red Garden. Oh, my God. When is she gonna come back? Soon. Maybe 2026, Nasu? Red Garden, please. I'm truly at a loss of words.
いやー、ごちそうさまでした。
ごちそうさま。食後は習い事がありますので、私はこれで。
Okay.
兄さん、反省なされたのでしたら、今夜は早めに部屋に戻って勉学に励んでくださいね。
Akia rises from a seat and leaves the dining room. With her gone, it suddenly feels like there's room to breathe. I thank Kohaku and Hisue for the meal, then head back to my room. Damn, dude, that's fucked up. Akia dragged him back to the mansion. I wonder if he's with his other family. What was it called again? Arima, right? What would he be doing? What's her name? Keiko-san. Keiko would have family meal with them. Talking to Keiko-san. She'd be worried, Shiki, why didn't you come home for 2 days? Shiki can't lie to Keiko-san. He's like, aye. This is the reason. I pass the time doing nothing in particular. I take a bath, study a little, then lie in bed. Man, you know, okay. Wish list for a remake. Far Side of the Moon. Akira, Kohaku, Hisue. I want Aodima family to have sprites. I want Keiko-san. I want more screen time on Keiko-san, please. I want to see the mother that took care of Shiki for the past 7 years. I want to see a good scene with them. Please, Natsu, please. He added all these other characters and he couldn't give Keiko a sprite? The hell? There's so many new characters, man. Everything is back to the way it was. The carnage and death of the past 2 days are now behind me. If I close my eyes and let the dark embrace of sleep take me, the embers burning inside me may just be put out. He went to sleep. But something floats to the surface of my mind. My eyelids are shut, my brain is turned off, and still this vision comes back to me vividly. I see her, in the midst of a raging blizzard, a cascade of sparks framing her figure. All of the movements I will never forget. I wonder why this one stands out above the rest. It is a snapshot burned into my mind. Tears well uninvited beneath my eyelid as I recall this single moment. It feels like I witnessed something I shouldn't have, like a prayer or oath spoken to utter desperation. Unable to bear it any longer, my eyelids fly open. I dry the corners of my eyes and look up at the ceiling I have yet to grow used to. Despite the quiet, calmness evades me. It's the same way I felt in Ciel Room 3 days ago. Now that I think about it, did I really spend the night in Ciel Room? I was wrecked with guilt over having killing someone, which I only forgot about after being around Arc. But if that night never existed, I don't think the Shikitono lying here now would exist. I wonder what that night meant to Ciel. Was she just extending a hand to me because she couldn't bear to leave me alone? Like I was an abandoned puppy in the rain.
そうだろうな。人助けが趣味なんだし、あの人。
I mumble as if reasoning with myself and shut my eyelids. I pass the time in the days, hoping to distance myself from those memories and wash away the impression they left on me. As long as I manage this, the things that happen will all fade into the past. My consciousness drift toward the abyss. Thus does my peaceful days off come to an end. I lie in bed and slide into a vague slumber, as if I can convince myself it will all fade away. That's the end of chapter 6. Not yet. I awake. It feels like someone's calling out to me. Hold on. Immortality note. You think we should check spoilers? Kind of want to. Immortality? I pick out a book and read? What the fuck? Immortality. Of who? My body is heavy, weighed down by the desire to go back to sleep. But my mind, alert and aware, does not allow it. Maybe a little reading would do me some good. I'll probably get sleepy in no time, sifting through some boring old records. I get out of bed and move to the adjoining room. I pick up a book from the bookshelf and open it at a random page. Immortality? Oh, we're gonna get a lesson. Okay. Let me wet my throat. Hey, is this all in Shiki head? Can he read out loud for me? So I can just put this on auto. Alright. Immortality. If this word could be realized, it would surely be considered one of the defining features of eternity. However, a problem persists. There is no being in existence that has attained such a state. Even vampires who do not age, who can reawaken from death, prove no exception to this. For their immortality is defective. They cannot maintain it without feeding on the blood of others. Moreover, they can only feed on others on their own kind. predominantly humans. In this instance, which severely limits their versatility. While they declare themselves superior beings, in truth, they represent not evolution, but regression. In their dependence on others to sustain their life, they are no different from human. But there do exist life forms close to perfection, perpetual motion machine in their own right. They have survived since times primordial. These beings feed on and multiply their own body. The concept of a lifespan is immaterial to them, whose old cells are recycled to nourish the new. These simple creatures are called colonial organisms, considered, for example, the jellyfish. Excuse me. That's very true. I think I read that somewhere too. That jellyfish are immortal. They cannot die a natural death. Like someone has to kill them, basically. They're basically immortal if left alone. However, this perpetual motion is only possible in the absence of sapience. If one is willing to accept eternity at the price of sapience, one may as well seek it in death. Excuse me. Similarly, one who seeks to maintain their human form for all eternity cannot do so through immortality. Over time, the body would decay, and the mind would wither. Immortality versus eternity. I have no attachment to the time-worn idea of immortality. And eternity is impossible, while one clings to the concept of individuality. So, in conclusion, rather than merely prolong my individual existence through immortality, I have chosen to live for all eternity through infinitude. Is this Roa a diary? Your approach is certainly unique even among the ancestors. However, under your method, your eternal life would end in tandem with the extinction of humans, no? Your process requires a human fetus, and a reliance of the external factors. It is no different from the longevity of a dead apostle. That is no concern to me. Humans can only function properly in the company of other humans. If humanity were to go extinct, my own survival would be meaningless. I would die with them anyway, one way or another. So that is your answer. Immortality with a predetermined endpoint, with a singular notion. You know who's talking? I bet it's Roa and Nero. That's who it was in the OG. I'm thinking that's probably the same in the remake. All dead apostles were once mages, seem to suffer from the same mania. They value their ideal more than their own existence. That said, what you propose is a far cry from eternity, serpent. No, it is eternity. Let extinction be total when it comes. Once none are left to observe it, the universe will fall into everlasting stasis. The fleeting time between now and the end of human life, that is my eternity. I cannot bring that in myself, thus my only choice is to live to see it. Well, that aside, I have found one thing to amuse myself with in the meantime. Is that why you went through the trouble of calling me here? You have done well to find this sea. I had not thought my old workshop of immortality might still be operational. You should be proud your work withstood 800 years of technological advances after all. I can devote myself to my experiments here without anyone interfering. That said, they say that no one, not even the will of the planet itself, can find the wandering sea. Is that true? Until the new year, at least. Very well. I should be glad to accept the final request of a compatriot, especially one with only a year left in this world. I am also rather interested in seeing your exploits in the Northern Sea. I'm certain they will prove edifying. Well, we can save that for after we resolve the issue at hand. It turned out to be rather a disappointment. Now then, allow me to enlighten you about the principle within you, about the silver of mystics that spills over into reality. With that relic of the age of gods, there is someone I would have you captured. Arcueid Brunestud. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, is this the Battle of Arc? Or Type Earth? Hime! Is this Battle of Hime? Countless chains bind the vampire limbs. The bounds, like vines rooted in the wall, hold the very air captive. Oh, that's Roa! He calls upon lightning to aid his escape, but there is no way out. The serpent awoke from his coffin in captivity, having no opportunity to retaliate, let alone flee. He is a fish caught in a net, an insect trapped in a spider web. The fate that awaits him is clear, a miserable death, captured and consumed. A merciless strike tears the vampire heart out of his chest. Vampire possess a near immortal ability to regenerate, but the power is lost if the organ that transports blood is taken from them. Blood circulation is the only thing vampires have in common with living creature. The moment they lose that, their power are greatly diminished. That is Arc. That's her boots. In fact, it would be preferable to have one's heart crushed. Even deprived of the magical energy in his blood, the body can still function well enough to regenerate a destroyed heart. But not when the heart is ripped out wholesale. When the heart and soul are separated from the flesh, the bodies quickly decay, in an inexorable decline. Like an old man runs out of way to cheat death. Oh god. Get that back, he may have screamed. But his prayers goes unheard. Chains that torn out his throat, so only bones remain. His chest, where his lungs used to be, has rent asunder, leaving the vampire unable to even scream in anguish.
それが遺言?
Oh fuck.
今度のは特に粗末だったのね、ロア。
A beautiful voice bids him farewell. The vampire hands falls outstretched, as if begging for life. His body is completely ceased to function. His name is Roa. It is extremely one-sided for the vampire who spent over 10 years remaking the grounds beneath Soa.
待て待て、ちょっと待ち上がれてめえ。
By the time Mario Gallo Bastino arrives at the scene, the tragedy has already been committed. Inside this clandestine chamber, where not even moonlight shines, are the stone coffin of the vampire and his body that is now carrion. And standing over it is a woman in white, a vampire princess holding the dead vampire heart in her left hand.
あら、誰かと思えば見知った匂い。あなた、もしかしてラウレンティスの子？
今はそっちとは関係ねえよ。マーリオと呼んでくれ。くそ、目を離した隙にこれかよ。ロアの野郎は完全に死んじまったな。これで次は何年後だ？
Next one comes.
さあ、あいつの事情なんて知らないわ。今まで通り行くのならまた17年ぐらい
？17年。17年だと。
Charred grin, Mario glares at the corpse. The expression on his face is close to pure hatred.
それじゃ間に合わねえんだよ。どうしてくれる？なんだってそんなにやる気に溢れてやがるんだよ、てめえ。いつもの無気力さはどこに行った？ジジイの話じゃ淡々と使徒の末端から潰していくって話だが。
いつもの私？いつもの私って言った？そっか、そうね。今までの私なら確かにもうちょっと時間をかけたかも。でも今回は1秒も無駄にしたくなかったの。ロアなんかに使う時間がもったいなくて。
ただの気まぐれかよ。なんだそれ。なんか悪いもんでも食べたのか？それとも故障が近いのか？精密機械が気分でパターン変えてんじゃねえよ、くそ。
Mario foul mouth is nothing out of the ordinary, but his tone betrays crumbling composure. Why does Mario need Roa alive? What does Roa... Let's keep going. If he had kept a cool head, his typically observant eye might have noticed the change in a woman sooner.
つまりあれか、代行者どもが頑張りすぎた。てめえが27層とやり合っていればこんな結果にはならなかったわけか。
ええ、もし私だけでブローブと戦っていたら今頃は眠っていたでしょうね。新参者ではあったけど、そうである以上は強敵だったんだろうし。
はあ、やけに素直じゃねえか。強敵ね。てめえの口からそんな単語が出るとは夢にも思わなかったぜ。
そう？弱くても厄介な相手だったんだから強敵と言うべきじゃないの？
だから厄介な相手なんて感想を持たなかったんだよ、今までのあんたはな。
Mario clicked his tongue in distaste. As she endured his murderous gaze, the vampire princess is moved by understanding.
まあいい、終わったことをうだうだ言っても時間の無駄だ。人生残り少ねえんだし前向きにいかねえとな。今代の死とロアはこれで消滅。次の発生まで10年以上の時間がかかる。この町での事件はめでたく解決。ロアが死んだことで死者も共倒れ、あとはポコポコ出てくる身元不明の遺体を裁くだけの簡単なお仕事だ。
あなた代行者たちを連れてすぐに帰らないの？
帰りたいのは山々だがな。片足突っ込んだ手前最後まで面倒見るしかねえだろ。けどな、お姫様、あんたはいいのかよ、それで。
へえ、いいって何が？
ロアの野郎に横取りされたあんたの容量の話だ。その体いい加減限界なんだろう。吸血衝動を抑えるにはロアを真の意味で殺すしかない。こんな使い捨ての体を殺した程度じゃ奪われたものは戻らない。今回が最後のチャンスだったんじゃないか。なんだって問答無用で始末しちまったんだ。せめて生かした状態で血を吸えば何割かは取り戻せただろうに。
I like that look. That look from Arc. Mario's voice carries none of the usual venom. He only speaks to such recourse out of the earnest concern for her well-being. Make the pure vampire princess drink blood. He knows what an absurd suggestion it is. Her lips move. Mario can already hear the beauty reply, not in my life.
ああ、その手があったか。
Whoa! She stares unblinkingly at the heart clutch in her left hand, looking for all the world as though she's about to press her lips to it. Mario's astonishment tears the words out of her mouth. What did he say there? What the fuck? What the fuck did he say? I'm talking about the power of Rose stoking you. Your body is at a limit. You'll be able to keep the vampire impulse in check. If you kept him alive, suck his blood, at least have gotten something back. Oh fuck, when she's gonna get back? To think that he would ever bear witness to something so unfathomable in this far-flung eastern land, no less.
でもやっぱりやらない。こんな生き物を私のものにしたいと思えないし。
Damn. Her white fingers swiftly and elegantly crush the heart. Blood spurts from it, isolantly staining her porcelain cheek. The final protest from the serpent denied even his death throes. Damn, dude, she killed Shiki! Oh, fuck. Is Akia gonna be okay? Yeah, as long as Shiki's okay, that's all she really cared about, I guess. She wipes away a droplet of anguish and touches it to her tongue.
ほら、まだ温かい血液でも哀れなぐらいまずいんだもの。
Did she drink his blood? Does that count? Her tongue reaves rather than blood. Her smile is very magic that melts the hearts of men.
お前 そんな側だったか。
What's her deal? The vampire princess ignored Mario's question. That smile is her only reply. She gracefully brushes past him.
帰らないのなら別にいいけど、次に私の後をつけたら、
Oh my
あなた
god.
たち全部皆殺しよ、マリオネット。
Oh, the woman's footsteps echo through the underground cavern. Mario does not move until the sound fades completely. His legs tremble with fear. I will kill every single one of you. Is he referring to Mario and his subordinates? Or every member of the church in the country? Or perhaps every member on the planet? He knows exactly what she meant. That is why all he can do is stand, struck dumb in the darkness.
ふざけんな。ロアどころの話じゃねえ。あの女、どうなってやがる。
Mario's voice comes out of a whisper. Arcueid Brunestud has changed. And what that entails is too terrifying to contemplate. Damn, dude. Alright, so no more roll fight. Was there a roll fight in the OG Ciel Route? I don't remember. I really don't remember. But what's the next chapter? Next chapter is 7. Metamorphosis. Alright.